Want to hear a good Praise the Lord story at warp speed? Then buckle up, stay tuned, because we've got it coming at you next. In a world rushing by, the extraordinary often hides in plain sight. Miracles happen quietly every day. They are rarely told, but they happen to all of us if we will just notice. These are the stories of ordinary, everyday people. They're not celebrities or VIPs. They are everyday people whose lives have been touched by extraordinary experiences. Welcome to Ordinary Miracles, where real life stories reveal an extraordinary God.
Well, hey everybody, Nan here. Welcome to Ordinary Miracles today. Today's guest is our wonderful Miss Gerry. But before we get going, I want to give a special shout out to all our veterans, to your precious families, and to all the friends of Bill W. You are always welcome here. Well, welcome and hello, Miss Gerry. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. Hi, I'm Gerry, and today I get to do what I do best, talk to you. My eldest of three children is and has been a preschool teacher of 2-year-olds, going on 9 years now. My 2 strokes have long since purged the patience I used to have, as I cannot stand to be around screaming and or wailing kids of any age, and I refuse to be held responsible for any and all aberrant language that comes out of my mouth as a result of such encounters.
Uh-oh.
So I'm like the elf who did the cobbler's work at night, busy but invisible to all others. I was slightly shocked and appalled, and also very verbal about it, when I learned that despite my daughter's teaching in a Catholic school, there weren't any religious crafts for the kids to make. My daughter is patient, soft-spoken, and always kind. Many times through the years, I have wondered if the hospital gave me the wrong baby to bring home after I gave birth to a baby way back when. On the other hand, I am very impatient, loud, brusque, and often rude. All of which I do not mean to be. It just comes naturally, I guess. Anyway, I emphatically told my daughter that there simply had to be religious crafts for the kids to make. She looked at me as if I had fallen down, hit my head, and was speaking gibberish. Then she offered me the position of activities director. Ooh, a title. But she made it clear that I was not allowed to be around the kids because of my impatience and the potty mouth that possesses me at odd times, much to my chagrin. I have never been artsy-craftsy in my life, but do you see the opportunity being offered to me there? I could decide what the little kiddies would make so their mothers could store the items in cardboard boxes for about 20 years, then pass them on to the new, then-grown artists. So, activities director that I am, I dreamed up some crafts and borrowed some other ideas from the internet. So now I spend many hours tracing. Speaking of which, did you know that you can make tracing paper at home just by coating white paper with baby oil, mineral oil, or even vegetable oil and letting it dry? I spend a lot of time cutting things out, gluing, painting. Hey, I even learned how to make pom-poms and have made thousands of them by now, and doing whatever it takes for making the designated crafts I choose. The more intricate crafts are my gluing raffia onto little cardboard rectangles to transform them into hay bales for the nativity scenes. Another dilly of an idea, but it turns out so cute, is gluing 30 wooden mini sticks to make shutters for the same nativity scenes windows. Sometimes I get a little overwhelmed at all the steps to complete a project, but someone has to do it, and I'm the only volunteer on board. I frequent the sales at craft stores for usable items. My front bedroom is piled up with as many boxes and bags that it looks like a bomb went off in a craft store, spewing stuff all over. I have a rough idea where most stuff is, but I still have daily private Easter egg hunts searching for misplaced items. And just like in the Bible, it is a celebration of sorts whenever I finally locate a misplaced object. My favorite craft store is Hobby Lobby because it is a Christian-run operation. It takes one to know one. You know, birds of a feather flock together. You are known by the company you keep and all that. I finish each craft kit and bring one for each kiddo, 16 in all, to my daughter's house. She brings them to school, and like Emerald Lagasse says, bam, the babies do their thing and turn them into masterpieces. The babies are then proud, their mamas are proud, and the activities director is proud. Mission accomplished. Like the Blues Brothers said, I feel like I'm on a mission from God, and it feels good to be useful. The Bible tells of Jesus is doing good for the least of the people. There are so many opportunities to do something for others. If you have the inclination and the time to volunteer, pray and search for what you will do. Then, like the hippies in the 60s used to say, bloom where you are planted. In parting, I would like to remind you, when it's hard to pray, you just have to pray harder and often. Just be faithful and persevere, my friend in Christ, because he has you in every situation.
Wow. You rocked it, Miss Gerry.
That's okay?
That was beautiful. Well, I got some questions for you. You ready?
Get ready.
All right. So tell the listeners what it was like for you before you, like just feelings or in your real life, what it was like for you before you came upon this. I'll call it a ministry because I think it's a real ministry what you're doing. Before you came upon this little ordinary miracle, and how does it feel when you're doing it, and then how does it feel like with the kids, or anything you want to share about that?
Before I started doing this, I was disoriented, aimless, had bored, had nothing to do, and felt no sense of accomplishment. But once I dove into it with my whole heart and started finding things and discovering things and inventing things, I felt exhilarated. And it's like eating candy or potato chips. You can't have just one. I'm always looking forward to the next project. I interrupt myself constantly, thinking of what I'm going to do. That's why I have so much stuff piled up, future projects, you know. Now, if only I lived this long to finish all these, boy, that'll be amazing. I guess I'll be Methuselah's age, 969. But who knows? Who knows what the future holds? But I do. I feel like I have a purpose, like I'm doing something, and I enjoy it so much. And my daughter gets the biggest kick out of the reactions of the other teachers when she brings a craft in, and they ooh and ah and carry on and so on. And, of course, when she calls me, I enjoy it too. Let's face it. But Al has gotten to where he wasn't going to help. My husband was not going to do anything. This was my project. He didn't want to hear about it or even see it. Too late. Every room in this house except the bathroom, is full of projects or something in various stages of completion or awaiting their turn to be used. But he does great. He's cut things out for me. He's spray painted things. He's offered me suggestions when I'm hitting the wall and I can't figure out how to make something work. It's brought us closer together. And of course, I appreciate everything he does. I really do. He buys me glue and I don't have to pay for it. That's always nice.
So you got yourself a wonderful man there, right? Because I was so curious. I don't remember you being a craft type person, but maybe that was just something that I didn't know about you. So tell the listeners, like, were you always a crafty kind of person, or you became one, or how did that work?
Absolutely not. I can remember as teenagers, my younger sister and I, made Indian mosaics, and they were tall, maybe 2.5 feet tall. And we put the glue down and then sprinkled different colored little pebbles. It looked like aquarium pebbles, but anyway, to make this Indian. Well, mine looked like the wreck of the Hesperus. They looked like a horse tromped on them. They were awful. It was awful. My Indian, he didn't. He was really missing something. I was never good at this. She was so good and patient and kind. She sewed. I never did sew. I never wanted to sew. My sewing is sewing a button on something, and it's limited to that. But hey, I can wield a mean bottle of glue. I can do that, buddy. Of course, the cat gets glued, the house gets glued, my hair gets glued, everything gets glued in the process. But what the hey? Maybe that's lanyap, you know?
Sweet lanyap. So, if you weren't a crafty person before, I guess I'm trying to find how did, I want to say, God come into your life at this moment to make you able to do something that it sounds like, unless I'm hearing you wrong, that you weren't able to do before?
Well, one day I was talking to my daughter, and I just casually questioned, what kinds of activities do you all do? Well, they did cute little things, but as I said before, nothing was of the religious nature. So I said, but Mimi, you're teaching in a Catholic school. These parents are sending their children to you to round out their education. And that includes religion. That includes knowing about God. I mean, I know that the parents do this at home, but you have to supplement all this. You have to infuse the love of Jesus into the children's mind, the love of learning into their minds. So let's get with the program. So she said, well, if that's how you feel, you could be my activities director.
You're in charge.
Put the spotlight on me. So I said, oh, okay. So I picked up the ball and I ran hog wild with it and have been running ever since.
Is it a lot of fun? Did it surprise you? What surprised you about doing all this?
Well, it surprised me that I had the fortitude to stick with a project long enough to finish it. Although sometimes I felt like running away, just leaving the house and running away and never coming back to all this stuff that's all over. But surprise, surprise, I stick with it, and I've only missed a few deadlines. Like one year I was in the hospital 3 or 4 times, and I missed, I don't know, 2 or 3. I missed Thanksgiving and Christmas. But I had given my daughter enough, I call them little backup crafts that were simple and easy and blah, blah to do. And she pulled those out and gave those to the children. So the children didn't realize that anything was amiss, which is good. But I knew it, and I really felt bad about it, but I wasn't well enough that year to do those projects. So now I try to be ahead of the game. So in the event something does come up, because Satan's always trying to trip us up. He doesn't want us to succeed, and he doesn't want to do anything or let us do anything to glorify God. But anyway, in order to thwart Satan's miserable ways, I try to stay one step ahead and finish about a month ahead of each due date for each project.
So you sound like you're super energized. Would it be correct for me to say that, you mentioned in the opening that you had strokes, and so I would imagine that you have some physical limitations and some medical issues. So before all that, were you like a high energy worker bee at your whatever it is you did work wise? Because you sound so on fire, like you're full of energy, and you like to get things done, and you plan it a month ahead of time. That's for people who aren't organized, that's way ahead of time.
Right. Well, I think I've always been to the school that I must have stuck my finger in a light socket and gotten shocked, and I'm wiggly and wild and on fire. So to a degree, I think I've always had that. But now now in my golden years, I think I've learned to channel it into proper things to do, proper things to say, proper ways to act. I'm trying. Lord knows I'm trying.
You are a fabulous woman, Gerry, so no worries with that one.
Thank you, but I don't know. But anyway, right now, I'm working on, what am I working on? Oh, cats. We're doing cats. We don't do Halloween. I don't do Halloween as crafts because that's a pagan holiday.
Uh-huh.
So instead, we make cats for Halloween or owls. No. I'm not a zoologist, but anyway, we do all kinds of stuff. We put our own spin on a lot of the projects. For instance, on the owls that we make, we put a paint stick on the bottom, and the children get to raise and lower the bat by the paint stick, and the wings flap.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, so the wings are
kind of like a marionette.
Sort of, yes. And like I say, the cats have a little purple collar on them, and I put a little teeny tiny pumpkin on the collar with a little green tendril and 2 green leaves, just to make it look like it's fall-ish. But we don't do Halloween stuff. No.
Well, that's probably good.
But that's what we're doing now. So I have 6 more cats to make. And of course, they're made out of pom-poms, hundreds and hundreds of pom-poms that I make. But that's okay. And it's a sense of accomplishment when I finally do something. And of course, sometimes it's a big sense of relief, too. Hallelujah. But in the midst of all this, I somehow, and I don't know how, but hey, I do the impossible all the time. I've lost my scissors. And I need my scissors to finish everything I'm doing. But I keep praying for them. I asked God repeatedly to help me find them and to guide me to them. I've even resorted to St. Anthony, asking for his help. So they'll show up, but who knows where I put them? I don't know.
So I'm sure St. Anthony will help you find them. So
that's right.
So Gerry, when you you shared that you have some medical issues, and sometimes, like you said, you were in the hospital a couple of times, and so you have some interruptions in your ministry work. I'll call this a ministry work, but with what your projects are. So when things are hard for you or painful or I would say discouraging, when we don't feel good, just because probably there's listeners who may be going through something like that, maybe share, like, how do you get past it to complete your little pom-poms and to keep going, or do you only do it when you feel good? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you press forward, or you and Al, how do you guys press forward to get it so that the kids have a completed project?
Well, no matter what situation we're in, I remember the words my mother used to say when we were little: "This too shall pass." And every day is different. So I've had several issues in my stomach and bowel area. I've had colitis. I've had ulcerative colitis. I had a perforated bowel. I've had I have IBS now. And you get the picture. And then now I have a kidney that's in the process of dying. It won't die and it won't get well. So it just pretty often it hurts, just plain hurts. Sometimes it hurts so bad it quits. It'll just stop working. And it's like a truck hit me. The pain is unbearable, and I get to spend a week in the hospital. But through all this, like I said, I know that this too shall pass. So just keep the faith, and Al's good to me. He gets me to the doctor, the hospital, gets me the medicine I need if I need anything from the drugstore. So God hasn't forgotten me. And what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I guess I'm going to be like an Amazon woman after this.
You're a spiritual Amazon woman.
Thank you. I don't know, but
You're a spiritual. What's the name of the guy? The Hulk. You're a spiritual. I mean, you press through and you get it done. And I'm sure those kids feel so blessed by what you do. And I'm sure your daughter's thrilled to have a mom who does, she can bring all those things to the school and all because you got a feeling that, something needed to be done to help the children, in a creative, artsy way, be, educated about their faith. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and it keeps me busy. It gives me a purpose. It gives me goals to meet. So it's a win-win situation. And my daughter told me that she wouldn't have kept the job if I hadn't have stepped in and done this. And she didn't ask me or hint. I just volunteered. And like I said, now I am the activities director. Woo-hoo. Doesn't that sound important?
That is, especially for the kids. So in your own words, the mission of our little podcast is to highlight ordinary people. So that would be all of us, ordinary people who've had not, lightning bolt miracles, but miracles from God. What in all this are your miracles?
The miracle is that God took somebody like me who had no interest and no desire in doing any of this and transformed me into filling a need that was there. And that just blows me away. He did this without me even realizing it.
So we give praise and much gratitude that you're still trucking on, keeping on, and so grateful to have you with us today for this very inspiring story of a mission that God gave you and that you said yes and you're doing it. So before we close, I have non-related questions to the story, but that people might be curious about, just to let them know a little bit about you. So the first question, you ready?
Yes.
If you came with a warning label, what would it say?
Woo! Uncensored.
All right. Second question. If you could travel anywhere in the world and at any time in the periods of history, including currently, where would you go and when would that be in the history timeline?
Wow.
You can think about it. TikTok.
In the 90s, I really, really thought I wanted to go to Alaska on the back of Al's motorcycle. But since then, I've come to my senses and realized it's cold, it's far, the roads are in terrible shape most of the time, and it's far from home. So I finally have reached the point in life where I'm comfortable with who I am and where I am, and that's really saying a lot.
Wow.
But I am. Mm-hmm.
That's a wonderful answer. That's a really great answer. All right.
Thank you.
Last question. You ready? It's kind of a long one. But being Gerry, and as you've given yourself the warning label of being uncensored, I'll ask you to know that people are listening. Name three problems, that exist today, either locally, nationally, or globally, that you would like to see solved, and what is your advice on how to solve them?
Okay.
And it can be one if you just want to give one.
The unrest in the world. People have just lost sight of what's really important. Everybody has to just stop what they're doing, drop to their knees and pray to God, ask for forgiveness, ask for guidance, and thank Him for His love. That's one. Another is man's inhumanity to man. We can be so unkind and downright hateful. And that's horrible. It shouldn't be that way. So here again, we should drop to our knees and say our prayers and trust God and follow God. And the third one would be, I wish another Nikola Tesla would come around and give inexpensive, if not free, utilities to everybody in all the world. That way there would be no people dying of starvation because of lack of water. There would be no high utility bills. We'd all be helping each other. You know, we're all in this life together, and none of us get out alive. So why not pull together and do the right thing, Spike Lee?
That was awesome, Gerry. That was awesome. And I thought I just had 3 questions, but I'll do this for posterity's sake. You ready?
Yes.
What would you like your students who get your crafts, who you are ministering to right now, when they're grown up and they listen to this podcast, talk to them and tell them what you'd want them to know. Just a word or whatever.
I want them to know that they were made for a reason. God knew them before they were born. God made them, and God is with them now. If they will follow him, their lives would be so much easier.
That's beautiful. Well, Miss Gerry, we thank you so much for being on our little humble podcast. And we will talk to you again next time for your next Ordinary Miracle story. Thank you very much for being with us. So until next time, be encouraged and rock on.